Recording in progress.
Welcome to the Krystic Wealth Series Day 1. I'm so excited to actually host this series and teach the information that's contained within, and I hope that you find as much value in it. Most often, I'm not just teaching this stuff for you, I'm actually teaching this stuff for me. I need it just as much as you do. So, I am happy, I'm happy to teach this today for all of us, myself included. So if you haven't done so yet, there is the Krystic Wealth Flame Archetype Quiz. This is completely free, and I do suggest you go to the site and take the quiz. It's at sha'ryah.com, and you can either go to /KWA, so Krystic Wealth Activation, the first three letters, and you'll find it there with the link to it, or you can go directly to the page that it's at, which is KWAQUIZ, so KWA quiz. And make sure that you take that. You do get a free gift, but you have to submit the quiz to me in that way. And then through your email, I will send it back to you. And this is not a scam to get your email. You do get to choose whether you want to sign up for the email, but I will respond to you through the email with your choices. Okay? All right. Welcome, beloveds, to day 1 of the Krystic Wealth Activation Series. Tonight, we return to the original divine design of wealth, not as performance, not as prize, but as a natural harmonic of truth, coherence, and remembrance. So you're not broken, and you are not behind, you are not in lack. The systems of the world have been distorted. They have been. They've been tweaked and twisted and turned, and we're living in an environment. This is not aligned with our divine organic blueprint. This is not aligned with our Krystic or Christos, our Christos Sophia. It's not aligned with our divineness. Anyway, you have never been separated from the source of all creation. Neither have I. That doesn't mean that I haven't felt like that, and I'm sure if you're here, you probably have too. So wealth is not external to you. It is a living frequency that responds to your stability. That's a big one. Your clarity, another one, and your attunement. So if I'm not clear about the stuff that I want, how does the waiter know how to bring me the right meal? And that's on a small scale. But if I'm not clear about what I want, then how does the God or the universe provide that for me? It doesn't know how to. It's like, well, what do you want? And I used to do this to myself because I used to come from the space of being almost a little bit humble, and I'll take anything. I'll take a van. I'll go live in a van. I don't care if that's what it has to be. That's what it has to be. I'm okay. I'm not too proud to not do that. Plus, there's a part of me that thought that would be kind of romantic. It's probably quite unguided. I have done that with stability, right? Where even though I thought I was in some degree stable in the sense that I was consistent in whatever I was doing for my company, I was showing up all the time. I used to do 15 hours of lives a week, which is ridiculous. And I did all of this because I was trying to create stability for myself. I have a tickle in my throat. I wasn't living in stability. I was living in instability. I wasn't quite trusting the environment or the field or the return of things. So if you're not stable, if your nervous system is constantly in flux, if you're looking at fear here and fear there and drama there and, all of these different things, you're allowing yourself to, or your nervous system is responding is a better way to do it. Your nervous system is responding in such a way that it's keeping you unstable in your frequency and in your field, and that's what's happening within those spikes of fear or those spikes of, and it's not that you can't have any spikes. I want to be very, very clear on that. It's not, you're not supposed to be monotone or mono emotion, right? Our goal is not to achieve a state of 100% eternal bliss every moment of the day. If you get to that point, that's fantastic, but I'm sure that you would have went through a lot of things to get to that point, to get to that level of clarity. Your attunement. So if you're not attuned, right, if you're not aligned, if you're not in the frequency that so if I'm out there and I'm working a job that's out of alignment with me, that's like pushing a heavy load up a hill and hoping to some point get to financial wealth. You may get there eventually because you may push yourself and power through it and eventually get to the top or get to that pinnacle where you have that level of wealth. But at what cost? Right? How much wear and tear are you putting on your body, on your spirit, on your soul, in trying to push something that is not in alignment with you up a hill, right? Because you're pushing, maybe you're in the hustle and grind stage, right? So tonight we're going to begin to stabilize the field, not chasing a result, not proving your worth, but anchoring in the truth. You are already enough, you are already valuable, and you are already capable of holding wealth. We just need to do a little bit of remembering the truth. So wealth is a frequency, not a force. And when I'm talking about Krystic, what I'm talking about is free of distortion. To me, Krystic means aligned with the divine organic truth, or the divine organic blueprint of life. So that's what the Krystic means. It has nothing to do with religion. If anything, it's not religious at all. So I just wanted to preface with that. So Krystic wealth is not earned, or true wealth is not earned by exhaustion or striving. It's received through alignment. And this frequency rests upon coherence between the body, the soul, service, and the truth. So you have to be aligned in your truth. And I talk about this all the time, that being aligned in your truth is wonderful. That can come at two different things right now. Maybe you're not aligned with the truth. And that could be that your perception or belief system is not aligned. It's incorrect at this time, and you need to clarify what your understanding, your knowledge, or your belief around something is. So that's one way that we can be out of alignment with it. The other way is that, besides having a distorted belief system, is that we know the truth. We know exactly what we're here to do. We know exactly how we're meant to live. We know the truth of, the food, what we should be eating. We know the truth. We know the behaviors that we have that are incongruent with what our truth is. What your truth is. And your truth is going to be different than mine, because you have a different story than me. You have a different frequency than me. You have a different path than me. And I don't teach you to walk my path exactly. I teach you to align with your path while teaching the way that I walk, because I walk the way that I believe that Yeshua walked. That's how I am trying to continually move myself closer and closer to. Okay? And that's why I teach the Krystic way and Christ consciousness. So the more that you harmonize with your truth, the more the field can recognize and return your resonance. The more clear you are, the more it knows exactly what to send you, and the more in alignment you are, the more clear the frequency that you're resonating out into the field, that ping, ping, ping of your resonance. That's magnetizing the things that are in alignment with you. So the more aligned you are, the more the things that are aligned with your highest divine self, right? Because the whole point of alignment is aligning with your higher self, which I call your oversoul. Your oversoul overarches all of your lives that you've lived, all of your incarnations. It is the one that knows everything that you've ever done, ever will do, has all the knowledge that's contained in your divine organic blueprint. It's the oversoul of all of that. But higher self is more mainstream digestible, so that's why I use it interchangeably. Or use it more public facing. Same thing with God and prime source and some other terms, but I'll cover those as necessary. So the more you harmonize with your truth, the more the field will recognize and return your resonance. The more clear you are, the more direct that you're going to be able to fire an arrow, right? The more clear you're going to be able to walk the path that's in front of you. Another thing that we have to address, though, is the trauma of separation from flow. So many of us are not blocked, we are bruised. And we're bruised by systems that taught us that we were not enough, or that wealth was only available through suffering. And there's so many different ways that this shows up. Some of us have past lives of servitude, past lives of that servitude where it was the belief that if you are someone who is spiritual, that you should not have any money. And they did this to convince people, or to at least make it a definite deterrent for people to go into a spiritual practice or into a spiritual field. Because if they make the system all about money, and then make the thing that we should be doing, spirituality, make it seem like it is not worth it, it's not going to support you, it's not going to feed you, it's not going to clothe you, it's not going to house you, it's definitely not going to be thriving. Many of us have guilts around those. We have martyrdom things. There's so many different blockages, even just straight from the first one that typically gets installed in that first 0 to 7 years, that we are somehow not enough. If you grew up in a home that was in lack throughout your childhood, you're going to be adopting the dynamics of wealth that existed within that home until you recognize it and move beyond it. You realize what the truth is, and you don't just know the information, you integrate the information, you take the practical steps forward. So, recalibrating the field. We are not forcing money to move. We are clearing or cleaning the space through which wealth is received. This includes nervous system safety, voice activation, energy hygiene, and remembrance of your value. It's really important to recognize the significant role that your nervous system plays in your capacity to hold wealth in your field. What ends up happening, and this is what we see time and time again when you see people who win a lottery, and how many, when we look at the statistics, I can't remember what they are, but it's a significant number of those end up right back where they started from. They end up right back where they were, paycheck to paycheck, on the brink of, maybe some collapse of some sort. And sorry, I just had a moment where I was like, oh my God, am I recording? It's like that moment where you're like, oh my God, where's my phone? So I just had to have that little pause for a moment. So we're not forcing money to move. We're just cleaning the space through which it's received, and this includes our nervous system. We need to understand how significant the nervous system is in our ability to not just hold wealth, but to keep it. And I was talking about the concepts of, or the fact that people who win the lottery are more often than not back to where they were before they won the lottery within 10 years. Probably within less than that, within a couple of years, because they just spend all the money. They don't, their wealth isn't clean. The spaces for that. They have the traumas, they have the I'm not good enough, they have whatever their stuff was concerning wealth. They didn't fix that, they just got money. So it's important for you to fix that, especially if you're somebody that's hoping to be in a very financially lucrative space. If you're somebody that's wanting to work your way to, say, $10 million years or something like that, I mean, I know I had to pick a big number. I've been in the coaching industry, and for me, it's been teaching, but aligned with a lot of people that are coaches or spiritual healers or energy workers, light workers, all the types. And being in that particular field, there's been, first it starts off with, $3,000 months, $5,000 months, $10,000 months, and then they're, $1 million years, and then it's $1 million months, and, $12 million years, and next it's going to be $10 million months, and so on and so forth, because they keep cranking the number up. Which does this subtle little thing in the field, because you're seeing these really huge numbers, and if you're not somebody that's hitting even close to that, that could be signifying to you, if you're not careful, failure of some sort, or that you are not good enough, or there's some element of lack that's at play here, because you're seeing that. And that's where, we have to look at comparison and other stuff like that, energy hygiene, remembrance of value, all of that. So the field is waiting. Money is not ignoring you, and you can feel abundant and still not have money coming in, because money is currency. And you can feel abundant in your relationships. You can feel abundant in the things around you, but still be blocked in that one category of money, right? So you have to look at that. So we want to open up that stream so that it is coming in at the rate at which you are ready to receive it. And that's contingent upon those various factors, including your nervous system. So money's not ignoring you. Clients are not rejecting you. The field is waiting for your frequency to become clean and coherent enough to land. If your message isn't clear, and you learn this when you're, getting any business teaching and stuff like that, it's the message that you put out there has to be clear. If you're out there and you're talking and, you're selling every day, a ton of different things, and people are like, I don't even know what they're selling. Like one day they're talking about this, and then the next day, they're over here dealing in something completely unrelated. And that doesn't mean that you can't have varying things. I mean, the guy that cleans the snow off my driveway, he's got all these things on his truck that he does, because he's a jack of all trade that does all these different jobs. So those odd jobs that he does all over the place, they are very varied. They are all over the place because he's multi-talented. And that's fine. That works for the space that he's in, and it's fine if your messaging is clear. And your messaging isn't just about the fact that you're talking about different things. That's not what I mean in the sense of, I talk about Krystic astrology, true sidereal. I've been talking about Christ consciousness. I talk about embodiment. I do a podcast, The Truth Will Set You Free. I have children's books. I have memberships. You've seen the stuff that I have. So all of this stuff is varied, but it's all the stuff that I continuously talk about over and over and over again. And my messaging is always the same. I'm not shifting one day talking Christ consciousness, and then the next day talking about, very trying to think of something matrixy and not to disparage it. But at that end, I'm very consistent in my messaging, even if the things that I'm talking about are varied, or there's a lot of different things that I'm talking about. They have a similar stream or theme, or there's that ribbon of energy that ties them all together. So you need to become clean and coherent. If I'm talking, incoherently, one way that I could be talking incoherently is that my messaging is around embodiment. My messaging is around sovereignty and all of that. But if I start talking in victim mindset and I start, working in that space, that's an incongruency between the sovereignty and truth that I talk about. So that's an example of that, in a way that you're incoherent very easily because your words and are not matching. And that doesn't mean that you can't hold space for two different things being true. The other thing could be that in your mind, you're sitting there going, it's not very Christ-like of me to gossip. I probably shouldn't be gossiping. And then you continue to gossip, and you think about it all the time, and maybe you think of it and not in that terms. You're like, am I gossiping? Is this what gossiping is? Like, what actually does constitute gossiping? And you're having those conversations with yourself to get really clear about it while continuing to gossip. If you get to the point where you're like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what I'm doing is gossiping, then you have to stop if you're going to be in coherence. Otherwise, you continuing to gossip and not believing that that's very Christ-like, but wanting to live as Christ, see how this would work for me, wanting to live as Christ, that would be something that wouldn't be very Christ-like. So I have to align that in my field, or I have, that's something that I have to adjust. And if I don't, then I'm knowingly living out of alignment. And so I either have to make adjustments with my belief system and go, okay, that's not really gossiping and I'm okay with what I'm doing. As an example, then you make that adjustment. And if it is something that you really believe, then you have to make that adjustment as well. So when the noise drops, wealth arrives. But that stillness in between can get a little bit scary. Okay, we're going to do an embodiment practice because I believe that we can talk and talk and talk and talk, but it's just information and it isn't truth until it's lived. So let's embody this. So we're going to take our hands and we're going to put one over our solar plexus. So the space just between your belly button, if you're putting your hand there, it's going to be the space between the bottom of your ribs and your umbilical. And you're going to take your other hand and you're going to put it on your heart space, so the center of your chest. Now you're going to speak aloud. I am safe to receive. I am ready to remember. I am aligned with the living field of wealth. Now I want you to take a nice deep breath and notice anywhere in your body where there's resistance or tightening. I'm going to repeat those terms while you keep your eyes closed and continue to focus on your body. And you can say them inside your mind. I am safe to receive. I am ready to remember. I am aligned with the living field of wealth. And all we're doing is just witnessing where our body tightens or where you feel resistance. We're not judging it, we're not changing it, none of that. So I'm going to ask you some questions, and I just want you to reflect internally with what comes up. What have you been taught about wealth that no longer serves you? So ask it in the first person. What have I been taught about wealth that no longer serves me? I want you to take a nice deep breath in and out and release the energy from that question. And the next question. Where have I internalized the belief that I am broken, unready, or unworthy? Where have I internalized the belief that I am broken, unready, or unworthy? Take a nice deep breath in and out. Let it go really slow. Releasing the energy of that question as well. The final question. What part of me already knows how to hold wealth with grace? What part of me already knows how to hold wealth with grace? You can take another deep breath in and out to release the energy of that question. And when you're ready, you can come back to this moment. So this is not healing for your brokenness. It is a remembrance of your wholeness. Let the field respond not to your effort, but to your essence. Let the field meet not your fear, but your frequency. Wealth is waiting, but not for you to hustle. It is waiting for you to remember who you are. Remember who you are. Well, I will see you tomorrow in day 2, which is the nervous system and the architecture of receiving. Thank you for joining me for day 1.